but God is not directing my actions. So I can't say that I am God in terms of, let's say, I write something. I can't say God wrote that. It doesn't work like that, because I'm in control of my actions and I'm an imperfect being. So nothing I write is God's writing. But Veda Vyas is, remember I was talking about Ansh of God? Veda Vyas is Ansh of God. Ganesh Ji is a form of God. Shri Krishna is Bhagwan himself. So they are God. They're not souls like us.
So they were, as my understanding, they were taken a human body. The God took a human body and came in this world. And then he wrote these things, right?
Yeah, so we have to understand.
How we know that they came from the God?
You have to actually understand there's a subtle difference between God taking a human-like body and our human body. God's body is made of Sat Chit Anand, its divine substance. And our body is made of Panch Mahabhut, the material elements. When God comes in this world, his body is not made of Panch Mahabhut. He already has his divine body. He just appears with it in this world and makes it visible to us. But since we have material eyes, material senses, everything looks material to us. Even if we see God face to face, we'll think, he's just like me. You need divine eyes to recognize God's divinity, even if you meet him face to face.
Is chanting is the only way to achieve God?
Chanting is a good help in keeping the mind focused. But the only way to attain God is to surrender your mind to God. And to get to that point of complete surrender, you have to purify your mind. And to purify your mind, you have to think of God or meditate on God. So that's why I was teaching Rup Dhyan earlier. It's a method of attaching the mind to God, a method of meditating on God to purify the mind. Yes? Yeah, actually Radha Madhav. I was talking to Sanjeev ji earlier, and he was telling me his experience. I didn't have the same experience growing up because I didn't know anything about Hinduism, so I didn't grow up worshipping any form of God. But most of you would have grown up worshipping many forms of God, which, as you said, are all forms of one single God. They're all equal, they're all one. So what Sanjeev ji was telling me is that when he first started practicing Rup Dhyan, he was trying to do it on many different forms, and even he had different pictures of Radha Krishna. So he said, never mind trying to focus my mind on different forms of God. I found if I just chose one form of Radha Krishna, like one particular picture of Radha Krishna, and focus my mind on that, then my mind focused much more easily. So that's why not just Radha Madhav Dham, all the saints in history taught devotion to one form of God. So Tulsidas ji, he did devotion to Ram. He respected everybody. All the forms, just like at Radha Madhav Dham, we respect all the forms. But he only worshipped Ram. Mirabai only worshipped Shri Krishna. Ram Krishna Paramahans only worshipped Durga ji. So saints have shown us that example, that you have to focus on one form. You know that all the forms are equal, but if you want to attain God, then you have to choose what form do you want him in, and then worship that form. That's called ananyata. You become single-minded. Worshipping many forms is also good, but as far as keeping the mind focused, it gives you an advantage if you choose one form. So that's why we teach that at Radha Madhav Dham. We believe in all the forms of God, but we worship and focus our worship on one form of God. Good question. Yes, Harsh? So he said, if all the different forms of God are one, then why do they have different abodes? So depending which form of God you worship, you can someone maybe someone is up there. Depending which form of God you worship, you'll go to the abode of that form of God. Arsh has learned this at Radha Madhav Dham. So he's saying, what's the need for the differentiation? It's that God reveals different sides of His personality in those different forms. So, for instance, Shri Krishna as Vishnu is very serious. So He has a serious abode where you can enjoy the opulence and the bliss of seeing God. But if you want an abode where you can play around, joke around, have no restrictions, then you have divine Golok abode of Krishna. So He's behaving differently in these different abodes, even though He's one and the same. Because some people prefer Him like this, some people prefer Him like that, so He gives us all the different options. Yes, it's for us.
I wanted to ask you about past lives. We were talking about what we've done in our past life, experiences from the past life, gives us experiences, and we're like today, we're presented with an opportunity to go to satsang. Are we different, life to life, with our personality? And how much does personality have a part to play in each life? Can I say, like last life I was the same? Or the next life, am I going to be the same?
Remember I mentioned the sanskar?
Right.
Your personality is because of your sanskars. So those sanskars are carried forth from life to life.
Does the sanskar change? Do you change?
Once you undergo the effect of a sanskar, that sanskar is now evaporated, you could say. So you do change, because as you undergo the effects of your karma in the form of your sanskars, they're gone. And you're making new sanskars with your new thoughts and your new karma in this life. So in fact, like, don't think of it as you're changing at the end of your life when you start a new life. You're changing every second. You're under constant change, either for better or worse, depending on the types of sanskars you create with your every second thoughts that you have.
So more opportunities are presented. It's very important to use your personality in beneficial ways.
Improve our personality. That's right. Yeah.
About our faith, and so I was very clear about you surrender yourself and you break the bondage of this Maya world, and you go to the heavenly abode. But then he asked an interesting question which I had never thought about before. Does hell drag any souls into it?
No. See, after God realization, no.
No, but before, I'm saying...
Before, yes.
Okay.
We definitely go to hell, but the difference between the concept of hell in Christianity and what we're taught in Hinduism is that hell is not forever. In Christianity, if you're sent to hell, that's for eternity.
Correct, yes, yeah, right.
So we've all been to hell. Because that's like a more extreme punishment for wrong actions. And like I was saying, we've all done extremely wrong things in our infinite past lives. So we've all been to Narak or hell. But you serve a sentence and you're released, and you come back here and get a chance to start again.
So that's the key difference. It's not for eternity. I mean,
that's right.
So souls do go there, but then after a certain time of the sentence, they get an opportunity to come back and again get the opportunity to break the cycle.
That's
and
right.
Go to the.
That's right. It's just a temporary punishment, like a spiritual jail. You serve your sentence and you're released.
Isn't this very confusing? Like, there's a hell, there's a heaven, and here we are. So if you do good, you will heaven.
It doesn't sound confusing the way you just said it.
Everything is right here. I mean, there's no third place other than this place, where we have all these yugs, Satyug, Treta, Dwapar, and Kalyug, and we go through this cycle. Wherein if you have done good deeds, we go to the Satyug, and also if we do math and do the numbers, right, in Satyug there are only few thousands of people. Then in the Treta, they said there are 30 crore people, which is 23 crores Devi Devtas, followed by Dwapar, where population increased. So
isn't it the calculation very simple that you are given the you're given the advantage of going to Satyug, enjoying your life, heaven, which is right here, and then as and when your bad or good deeds are finished.
Heaven is much better than Satyug. Satyug kuch nahi hai swarg ke aage. See, according to Hindu scriptures, even according to Gita, te tam bhuktva swargalokam vishalam chine punye martyalokam vishanti. You go to Swarg and you enjoy the pleasures over there, and then once that's used up, you enjoyed away all those good actions, your return, Vishanti means to return here. So it's a physical place. The matter over there is also Mayic. It's of the same material nature, but it's a more refined Mayic matter. So you can't get there, you can't even visit there with this type of body. When you go to Swarg, you're actually given a body over there to experience the pleasures of Swarg. Just like you're given a special body to undergo the sufferings of Narak when you go there. They're actual places, but they're all within the Mayic realm. So when the universe is dissolved, Swarg, Mrityulok, where we are, and Narak, all three are dissolved, destroyed. Which leaves one other place, God's divine abode. That's another difference between Hinduism and Christianity. Christianity doesn't distinguish between God's divine abode and heaven. Hinduism says heaven is Swarg, that's also temporary. It's the mirror image of Narak. Just like you go to Narak temporarily, you go to heaven temporarily. So you can